What?
Oh, that's your little globe.
That's the globe, and it's orange to match your dress.
Thank
I can
you.
change the colors,
Oh,
yes.
that's perfect.
Yes. I don't know if anybody's going to see it on the thing, if it's going to make it, but, you know, it's there. It's the thought. It's the details, right? The devil's in the details, right?
Absolutely. That should be the fifth agreement, but it's not. But go ahead.
The fifth? No. Well, no. This is an opportunity to write a book.
Yeah.
Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth agreement. So, all right. So the devil's in the details. What would be the other agreements?
So the devil's in the detail.
That's just it? You don't want to add to that?
That should be the fifth agreement.
I'm feeling like I'm just looking for opportunities to to have like a full book and not just a pamphlet or an addendum.
Exactly. There actually is a fifth agreement, and I don't remember what it is.
Let's see.
No.
I need to know. Listen,
the book is called The Fifth Agreement.
Oh, because that book is amazing. The Fourth Agreements, right?
The Four Agreements.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Listen,
there's another book called The Fifth Agreement.
It is The Fifth Agreement by Don Jose Ruiz.
Miguel Ruiz.
Listen, look, man. He's like, I'm going to keep going. He's like, I'm going to keep going. Let's see. What is the Fifth Agreement summary? The Fifth Agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. Be skeptical because most of what you hear isn't true. You know that humans speak with the symbols, and the symbols are only the truth because we agree, not because they are actually the truth. That is so apropos for 2024.
For today, like literally the past 48 hours.
What happened to you?
I will never tell, especially not while I'm being recorded. But I'm actually about to look that up. What exactly did you look up?
I just put in the Fifth Agreement. Yeah. So okay.
Well. Yeah. And the good thing about that, so you know, a new moon is happening in like less than 24 hours.
With the solar eclipse?
Not just any new moon, but yes, there's going to be a solar eclipse. But you have to be perfectly aligned. Everybody just thinks wherever you are, you can just look up in the sky with your glasses on and see a solar eclipse. Not the case.
But we're supposed to be able to see it in the Northeast. They said it's going to be like the most visible where we're at. That's what they said.
That's because we're here. But it's really like Rochester, New York, Austin, Texas. There's certain places that are going to be just in the right place where the sun, the earth, and the moon are aligned.
Okay. I'm just going to watch it on video. So
I need some eclipse glasses.
I was going to order eclipse glasses on Friday.
They're probably crazy expensive now.
It was like for a pack of 5, $25 or something, 18. It's like,
you should get them.
It's too late now. Listen, I'm going to be in work. And I'm not going to walk outside to get blinded because it'd be just my luck. I would get the faulty pair of glasses.
Burn your retina.
Retina? No. Do you need to see it?
My point was,
yes,
in the new moon, I'm a moon child, the moon energy. So I just feel like when people are like being dishonest, like in the past 48 hours, like I could sense that and be like, okay, and accept it. So back to the Fifth Agreement, like don't believe shit you hear. That's basically what the Fifth Agreement is.
Okay, I like that.
Because the moon energy is its highest for me, like right now.
I can tell it's exuding from you. Like don't make that face. I'm being very authentic. I'm being genuine. I'm actually being genuine.
Oh, okay. Well, you had to like,
okay, because it felt like the look was more like Negro, please.
No, that's not my ninja look. That's not my ninja face.
I'm glad I don't know what that looks like.
Exactly.
I'm so glad. So if you didn't already notice, well, you should know. We've already started.
Oh, we have. Okay.
We have, right? Welcome to the Cultured Misfits Podcast. I am Brandon, a.k.a. DJ Silk, and I have a special guest, a very, very special guest, right? Sitting to the right of me, and her name is...
Chandra Comercina-Pitts. Hola.
Oh, is that what we're doing today?
Thank you for having me, Brandon.
Oh, thank you for being here. This is dope. So I was reflecting. She's don't laugh at me, but there are people in my life that I can't remember the first time that I saw them. They just somehow entered into my life at some point in time. And then there are people that I remember clearly, vividly, the first time that I ran across them. I remember you when I first met you. Do you remember?
I remember exactly when we first met. I definitely remember when I first saw you.
Okay. So I'm going to let you go first. Let's see if it's the same.
No, you go first, Brandon.
Ladies first.
Men are so slick.
Okay. Listen, I'm the one that started. I
You
said
had
this
on
bus in
socks
motion.
with slides.
No.
Yes, you did. That's
There's
okay.
no way. There's
Well,
no way.
it was that college. For me, it was like, okay, the first time I saw it, I was like, something about him reminds me of my son's father. This is that Ninja Fleas look.
Okay. All right.
But I remember exactly where we were.
Okay.
It was a cat. It was a weekend. It was too. We were at Staples.
Actually, yes. It was a weekend?
It was a weekend.
And I definitely...
It was like a Saturday or Sunday. We're both like randomly, pretty aimlessly walking through the aisles of Staples.
Okay. I didn't realize it was a weekend. Damn.
I think you had on that same outfit you're wearing right now.
No.
Some socks and slides.
You know what? I'm going to disagree with you on the socks and slides because I've never worn socks and slides. I've never.
Maybe that was just a flashback.
That was that. You connected me. That's something else.
We were in Staples.
In Staples, you had your Nissan Pulsar. Was it 200 SX? Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, white.
That's crazy that you remember that car.
I do. And since that was a long time ago. That was a long time. It was at least more than a decade.
Yeah, it was definitely more than a decade ago.
And you've been through some things. Well, you've had adventures, right? I say been through some things.
Can you, replay? You've been through some shit.
Yes.
What are you thinking about? It's so interesting hearing about myself from other people.
I remember your food truck adventure / debacle, right? Which was tough.
Dang, Brandon, you've been around.
Yeah.
I've been through some things.
Yeah, that was fucked up, right?
That was
Dude
a debacle.
waited for you to make that shit successful.
That's crazy.
Waited for you. What? He leased you the truck, right?
Stole it from me. Yeah.
And then you got it. You had it popping.
Popping.
I remember the number $1,500 a lunch. Like you were like a day. I'm making $1,500 a day. I'm killing it.
That's my
I'm
quota.
killing it. Right. Killing it. And then this motherfucker was like, "Oh, this is actually a work. Oh, this works. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this back." And I bet you it failed after that too. I bet you.
Yeah, I never saw it anywhere but in a freaking parking lot yard, locked up and growing rust on it.
Yeah. So there was that, and then there was the thing that I feel like I'm hesitant to bring it up because I know you're kind of sensitive.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but like this is the most epic thing. So guys, if you're listening, you should watch on YouTube, right? So you can see what she looks like, right? And this is not to objectify you at all. I'm just saying if you understand the story would really make a lot of sense when you see her, right? But you wake up one morning and you open up your curtains to your, I think you hadn't even been in that house for a year. Like it was fresh. You open up your windows and then there's this billboard. That's always been there. It's always been a billboard there, right? But on this billboard, yes, but no, this is an epic debacle. I don't know how many, maybe on one hand in the whole world, people can say they went through this, but you open up your curtains, and what do you see?
You come off Interstate 95, Brendan, and what do you see? The things you remember.
I will always be there for you. This is what the billboard said. I will always be there for you. But here's the twist. Here's the fun, right? So this person is a business person, and I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to put them out there like that, just in case like they're super embarrassing.
Say his whole name first and last.
Oh, I mean, that's on you. No, don't do that.
Not relevant.
Because they're going to be like, pull it down.
Irrelevant.
But this person had a business that required him to be there for people in their worst possible times. So it was like a double entendre for this billboard, right?
God.
A picture of him talking about, I will always be there for you. But this was the only billboard that this ninja put up in the whole city. And it was right where Chandra could see it. And with the picture of him looking sad, hat in hand.
With a pink shirt on and a blazer. Talking about, I will always be. I was furious.
Did you ever take a picture of it, though?
We went to court. I literally had to.
You took him to court?
Absolutely. It was a court order to get that thing taken down with a restraining order, yeah. That was just a climax of him, like, hiding in my bushes and stuff like that.
He was hiding in your bushes?
Can't take no for an answer. Relationship is over. It's over.
Okay, so, all right. Because these are the parts that I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I just know what happened at that point. So you guys actually were dealing with each other for a period of time. Mm-hmm. How long were you dealing with them? More or less?
Probably a year.
A year? That's a good amount of time. That's a good.
Yeah.
Okay.
A year.
So you had a year in. things fall apart, and I take it you were the one that was like, yeah, this is done.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
He messed up, clearly. Or was it just not work? It just wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't it, and he wasn't the one. And yeah, he's messing up, and he definitely wasn't the one, and was constantly just messing up, and somebody I chose not to have in my life. And I feel like if somebody's like, I don't want to see you anymore, you block the person, you're not answering their calls.
Right. Take a hint.
You don't even have to take a hint.
All right.
It's like, you cannot force someone to remain in a relationship with you. So funny story aside, people had a great laugh for months. I would just pick up the phone. It was right off 95. I mean, it's probably the most visible billboard in the city of Wilmington.
Every day when I would come home from work, I saw that billboard.
We won't say anything about where it is.
No, every day. But so you took him to court.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, I didn't know.
I needed that billboard down. What are the chances you can see a billboard from Interstate 95 and from my bedroom window? You talk about furious. God.
He probably really thought that was going to work. My heart goes out to him in the sense of that took a lot of effort. That took a lot of effort. You roll your eyes all you want.
It took a lot of asinine.
I mean, that's desperation.
A decade later, I can laugh at that. I was furious for.
But I feel like that positions you as being a folk hero, like legend. Like that's legendary. Like that is super legendary. Yeah. Somebody that you broke up with, hiding in the bushes, doing all these things, and he resorts to buying a billboard ad and putting it right there and just like waiting by the phone.
Not just any billboard. That billboard is in lights.
Yeah. He probably paid extra for that. Yo, so you are special. You are a special woman.
You see the ring.
What does the ring say?
YouTube.
What does the ring say? Dope AF. She has a 4-finger ring on that says dope as fuck. Did you take it back to the 80s? Is that what's happening
You know what? This is actually handmade in Ghana, and it was a gift.
Okay. So. Listen.
And I got a 3-finger ring that was handmade in Kenya.
Okay, so you're just worldly.
Gift.
You're just worldly. You just putting asses in the seats. You're making people come out their pockets for things.
Some beautiful sisters, both of these rings.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. All right. I thought they were.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, man. See?
Sisterhood energy is really powerful. But yeah, I just know a lot of beautiful people, and I do have great energy, but yeah, we gotta
all right.
You gotta control how you handle positive energy, y'all. You can't just be putting billboards up around the place and hiding in bushes. Don't do that. Let's not do that.
That's not, oh man, you put it on him. That's what that was.
You hear the voice.
The more you put it on him. You put it on him because the more the higher the level of desperation, the more it's your fault for putting it on him.
You know what?
You broke his brain.
We're not going to. No, let's not.
I'm going to victim shame.
No, because I'm not a victim. I'm not. No. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
No, be proud.
Well, since I'm a folklore legend,
you're a legend. That's legendary.
I'll just hold on to that. Thank you.
I'm going to get you a ring that says legend on it.
I've been very cautious since then of how I approach relationships.
Really,
guys, ego is a very dangerous thing. So
Agreed.
That wasn't my first, experience where I decide. It's like the relationship. It's never like I'm deciding like, okay, this isn't working.
Okay.
Once we're not happy, once we're not free, once we're not living our best lives together, and even individually at some point, it's like we both know. So it's not like I'm demanding or putting down my, banging the gavel. It's like, this is not working. So let's just walk away and find our greatest person.
Okay. So now I'm curious. So was that the most extreme act gesture that you experienced?
That was the most extreme public gesture. Absolutely. Okay. Yes.
Would you mind sharing what the most extreme not so public gesture is? Yeah. So
I only deal with people who have a lot to lose, like me. You can't deal with people who don't have nothing to lose. So someone in the past, I broke into my house with a key, entered my house, without permission, and literally flipped everything upside down in my entire house without breaking one thing.
Wow.
He took time and care and caution to flip everything over cautiously. Mm-hmm. And then he came back and stole a plate off of my car, and I didn't realize it, and I got stopped going to work and with no plates on my car. Like grown-ass men, yes, do stuff like this.
You're magical. You're magical. You are magical.
A car he wasn't paying for, rent he wasn't paying for.
He's petty.
just petty and emotional, y'all.
Petty, low emotional IQs.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Like that's like a burglar breaking in your house and just doing like stealing your remote control batteries.
Just to get to
fuck
me.
with you. Yes.
To fuck with me. Just to get to me.
That is.
So that was another extreme, not so public thing because it was just in the privacy of my home that I shared with my son.
I feel like you might need to write a book about these things.
They definitely wouldn't be the stars of my book for sure. But yeah, I have some great book content. That could be a little side note. Half a page in chapter 7 maybe.
Oh my God. No.
And I'm not even going to take this time to like mail bash or anything because sometimes it's just personal. You know, I have great relationships. You know, I love men. I think we need to have better relationships and more open communication between especially men and women of color.
Agreed.
Gotta have these conversations.
Agreed. I find that the more successful a person is, the more challenging it is for them to accept rejection. You know, that's
definitely.
Yeah.
That ego again. I mean, we got to talk about. I have to check my ego sometimes, and people are not absolutely. People are not. Shut up. People are not even conscious of their ego, but sometimes you got to take a step back. Like, okay, I know I'm God. I know I'm operating my whole God self. And how do you check your ego? Like, where's the balance in it?
Yeah.
Knowing that you're dope and amazing and you deserve everything that you want, but also realizing that, you know, other people are dope and amazing and have wants and desires as well. So,
well, that comes down to respecting individuality. And like, you know, people, you know, everybody talks about manifestation and all that stuff. You want to manifest love, you want to manifest this, but they do it in a way, they don't realize that like, if I'm trying to specifically manifest Chandra, then I'm standing directly in the way of whatever the universe has in store for you. Because if the universe is not setting you up for me, then you have your own thing that you need to be doing. So it's very important to respect people's individuality and just not hone in on a specific person. Like there's nothing wrong with being like, I want love or I want a relationship or whatever. But once you start going into like, I want love from this person, I want a relationship from that person, you really are messing with that person's path in life. So.
And look, I get it. I hope to never be in a position where I fall in love or even in lust with someone who doesn't feel the same about me.
Oh my gosh.
But it goes back to
a low-key flex.
It goes to taking your time in relationships, like listening and paying attention. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. A lot of people, like you said, they log on, see what she looks like, and it just becomes about the pretty face, the hair, the body, all that, and then or the car and the muscles in the chest. And we gotta take our time and get to know who people really are.
Yeah, but we haven't been trained to do that. Yeah. We have not trained, but we haven't been taught to do that because how do we normally present ourselves with first? We lead with the physical, right?
Yeah.
We do.
And that's good. I mean, every 500 unit apartment building has a front door.
Right.
But there's 500 units in that thing. So let's take a look through it. And there's a foundation and there's the interior and there's the exterior and there's all the little nooks and crannies and there's the closets. The
nooks and crannies are great.
Yeah, so we got to just take our time.
I know. But
slow walk.
I found that usually a person who leads with their physical appearance, professional appearance, financial abilities, struggle to show anything else because they're so used to that being enough for people to hang around or pursue. Yeah. And it's like, nah, like that's all great. That's good. But I need to understand what's beneath that. And a lot of people are afraid to share that or be open about with that kind of stuff. Yeah,
definitely. And on the other hand, there's people who lead with the physical, but they also have a really dope mental and spiritual and like their character and they're cool people to be around. So like, okay, now you have this amazing person, but there's only one person for everyone, or is there?
No, there's way more. There's 8 billion people on this planet.
Okay.
So even if 0.1% of the population was for you, that's still several million people. Mm-hmm. So there's more than one. The challenge is finding your person, and then being able to evolve at the same rate, and the same pace.
Yeah.
Because we can be perfect for one another in our 20s and be a disaster in our 30s if we're not keeping pace with one another. Mm-hmm. So
Or you can meet somebody who thinks you're perfect for them, and you're like, dude, I don't even
happens
like
to me all
you.
the time.
I see why it would. Y'all log into YouTube so you can see what he looks like.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Y'all got to see what he looks like.
But I was talking about the other way around. I was like, oh my gosh, she the one. They're like, no. It's not going to work. But thank you. So, wow, I didn't expect for us to go in that direction. This is fun. This is why I love podcasting, though.
This is fun. And you haven't even got to your first question, have you? And
No,
I'm about to start asking you
it.
questions, so go ahead.
Oh,
let me sit back.
No, well, the first thing we do is for the culture, right? Because I want to have fun, but I always want to leave people a little bit better off than how I found them. So, being in that we're in a system right now, we're fighting against the, learning history that is not European. I take this moment to offer you, the audience, not you, Chandra, because you know these things, a little history. And today I want to talk about Ida B. Wells. Are you familiar? Do you know that name?
Absolutely. A legend in the culture. A legend for the culture.
Absolutely. So she was around these parts from 1862 to 1931. She's a prominent Black writer, journalist, educator, civil rights leader, and one of the founders of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. They need to change that name, though.
They do.
Born into slavery in Mississippi and freed after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862, Wells moved north and spent her life fighting for racial equality. As a philanthropist, Wells was one of the founding members of the first Black settlement house in Chicago, the Negro Fellowship League. At a time when the YMCA did not allow Black members, God darn it, the NFL served as a shelter, reading room, library, activity center, and center for young Black men. Are you understanding why I chose her as the person that I...
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm honored that you'd bring her energy and, that ancestor into the space with us. So, thank you.
Yeah, because the reason why Chandra is here, guys and gals and people of non-gender specific identification, is because Chandra be out here fighting for these kids in the community. Fighting hard.
Yeah.
Fighting hard. Before we get into that, though, shot o'clock. And I know you've had a day.
So you're just going to transition from the civil rights activist for the kids.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it.
Yeah, because that's the fun.
Work-life balance.
Yeah, that's the fun. No, that's the fun. Like you just like the multidimensional thing like that. I'm trying to get people to understand that we all have different aspects. Okay. Right. So definitely. We can be serious, we can be fun, we can be educational, we can be informative, we can be irreverent. Okay. We can be ignorant. Ignorant. All right.
Speaking of ignorant, what's with all this brown on this shot wheel?
Do you have a problem with brown?
I do.
What's your problem?
I only like brown people, not brown liquor.
Well, see, that's the fun.
I'll do it.
This is the fun. This is the fun and danger shot o'clock. Okay. It's like a light torture.
So, do you have something against tequila?
I'm out of tequila.
Unreal.
The Casa, I had Casa.
You guys, in case you're not doing this visually, he's got 30 slides on this shot wheel.
But there's only 15 because it's on either side.
15? Okay.
I don't know. I'm having your number, right? I'm having your. If you said 100, I would have said 50. Yeah, right.
Half of my number.
So I'm gonna go ahead and spin this wheel, and wherever it lands, that's what we doing the shot of.
No honey. Jack.
Oh, God. Lord.
Have I ever had a freaking Jack?
Oh, you're going to have one today. You're going to learn today.
Oh, my God. Oh, it is. Okay, I see it is doubled up.
Yeah. My bar here is not that deep. We're working on it.
What do y'all drink Jack with? Coke, Jack and Coke?
It's like usually Jack and Coke, but...
We got to do a shot.
It's a shot, baby.
Chasers.
Listen, I know. That's the fun. The disrespect.
I'm a lady.
You are a lady. You are a lovely lady. Yeah, you are a lovely.
What kind of shot? Okay, y'all. I need a South African shot.
What's a South African shot?
It's like a third of this.
Lord. So
I have my water queued up.
We're drinking to you and all the beautiful things that you're doing for all the beautiful people in this community, for all your efforts, for all your sacrifices. Yes.
Thank
cheers.
You. Cheers. All up.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was 3 gulps and it's still not gone.
You got a small mouth. You got a small mouth. That's all. Yeah. Wow. All right. So as you process, you gonna be okay? You gonna make it? You feeling warm yet?
Get myself to gas. Super warm.
All right. So it's amazing this world we live in. And I'm just fascinated every day when I just read the news stories of crazy ass people. Okay. And so today, for this Can't Be Life, the This Can't Be Life segment of the Cultured Misfits Podcast, a Florida man is breathing easier now that 150 live bugs have been removed from his nose.
I can't take stuff like this. Go ahead.
The unidentified patient went to the hospital earlier this month after noticing that his whole face felt like it was on fire, according to a Friday report. Although the man's first started experiencing symptoms in October, now mind you, we're in April. It wasn't until recently that it became serious. Over a couple hours, my face started swelling. My lips swelled. I could hardly talk. The patient told the news station. I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom without my nose starting to bleed. So they were eating him from the inside out, pretty much. The man visited HCA Florida Memorial Hospital in Jacksonville and consulted with Dr. David Carlson, an ear, nose, and throat specialist who was on call. Carlson was shocked when he looked inside the man's nose with the camera. He saw dozens and dozens of bugs feeding on his nose and sinus cavity. Some as big as the end of his pinky. That's crazy.
How do you not feel that? Go ahead, tell your story.
I know, right? I knew he was in big trouble. There was erosion that was occurring near the skull base in very close proximity to his eye and his brain, Carlson said. At first, the physician tried to use suction to remove the insects, which were in the larval stage, but they were too large. So he had to extract them one by one from the man's nose, which I guess that's why they were able to count, right? They were right up against the base of his skull, right under his brain. Had they gone through that, they could have killed him, Carlson said. It sounds like they could have killed him. The bugs have since been sent to an epidemiologist to determine their species. They don't even know what kind of freaking bugs these are. The patient is expected to make a full recovery. Here's the funny part, and this is Florida. This has got to be Florida. It remains a mystery how the larvae got inside the man's nose. But he told First Coast News that the problem might have stemmed from his bad hygiene habits when handling fish. Before I would rinse my hands in the river, now I'll use cleaner to do a better job and not touch my nose or my hand.
That's so funny because I thought about a river or water. That's disgusting.
Yeah. That was an aha moment for him. Like, yeah.
Now, what intrigued you about this story, Brandon? Curious.
The fact that people can be so trifling.
Period.
Like, you're cleaning fish. Like, he literally was like, I'm cleaning
your nose
fish
at the same time.
No, we won't give him pick his nose. But no, he probably was picking his nose. You're right. He wasn't
blowing his nose. He wasn't scratching his nose. He had to be picking his nose.
I like, it just blows my mind.
You got to give the larvae a ride to the back of your nasal cavity.
Yeah.
You feel like he inhaled the insects. I
don't know what. Listen, man, Florida, it's interesting because at one point in my life, Florida was the place. Like, if you were like, yo, let's go somewhere, I'm like, Miami. I want to go to Florida.
Okay.
Now, I really don't want any parts of Florida. Other than going to South Florida to go on the Oliver Beach, which is a clothing optional beach that I love, right? Like, I mean, I still love Miami, but I don't have the same, like, calling or drive to go because of just how fucked up that state is. So, yeah. I just find it like 150 bugs up your nose.
You know, clothing is always optional. That's the part of the story that stood out to me, that you like to go to the clothing optional beach in Florida.
Yeah. When is clothing optional?
I mean, now? I'm kidding, Brandon.
Don't play. Don't play.
The
do
shot,
not play.
I was already taking shots earlier today.
I know.
Told you I didn't want to do your little shot wheel.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Chandra. Do not threaten me with a good time because I don't, listen, I've been trying.
My point is you don't have to go all the way to Florida for clothing to be
it's
optional.
about the weather.
I'm just trying to get the image of bugs in the guy's nose out of everybody's head.
Well,
so
I don't know if we want to change.
Optional.
I don't know.
Trying to change the subject.
I don't know that the visions that you normally see at most clothing optional places is that was going to be any better than 150 bugs up your nose.
Yeah.
Well, except in Jersey. The views are good in Jersey.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of attractive people.
So there's a clothing
the
optional beach in Jersey.
Gunnison Beach.
That's okay.
Yes. My favorite beach. I can't even go to a regular beach anymore. It doesn't feel right.
I believe you.
I'm like, why do I have shorts on? Why can't I be naked? No, it's a beautiful, it's a nice sight. So, all right. So you have an organization.
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to draw the connection between the Cultured Misfits Podcast and your organization, in that I am so fascinated with culture in general and how it starts, how it's managed, how it evolves. And what you do is you are at the beginning of culture for kids, for the people in the community that you serve.
Yes.
You are providing, as far as I can tell, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you are giving people the opportunity to get out of survival mode, to be able to get into closer to self-actualization mode, which is where all the beautiful things happen. That's when you're in self-actualization mode, people. That's when you look at mountains and you're like, I wonder what's up there, and you climb. And you can do that because you're not worried about where your next meal is going to come from. You're not worried about how you're going to pay your bills. You're not going to worry about basic needs of survival. You have all that covered.
Yeah.
So that's what I see from One Village.
Thank you. Yes. So, I lead a global social justice organization, and you're right. It's, and more so, first it's about self-realization, even realizing who you are and who you have the capacity to be by showing them who we are, not just what they see on mass media, on social media, but putting people in front of our youth and young adults and our community as a whole to say, let's really look and see who we really are and who we have the capacity to be, and providing the tools to, empower people to thrive at any age.
That's something that I appreciate. One of the things that I loved about LeBron James's One Promise, like I Promise School, was that he did not just focus on the kids.
Right.
He built programs to address the needs of the parents, because understanding that, you can have the perfect environment for these kids,
right,
but they got to go home to imperfect environments.
Yeah.
So that's something that your organization, you're not just solely fixated on the kids. You're
right. Yeah. Our focus is around historically marginalized children and families, with a focus on Black, Indigenous people of color, with the assertion that it truly does take a whole village to raise a, healthy child, strong family, and thriving community.
Okay.
So it's very holistic. So we often hear about generational curses. We got to talk about, generational and intergenerational blessings and legacy and success, and, the Ida B. Wells of not just history, but those of us who are out here today, like myself and people much younger. I'm often inspired by the kids that, come to us. Yeah. That I encounter here throughout the Delaware Valley and all over the world.
Check you out all over the world.
Brilliant, man.
So how far have you traveled in your efforts to your mission?
So 5 years ago, One Village Alliance won a nationally competitive grant to expand our work into the continent, to sub-Saharan Africa. Wow. So last year marked our impact across our fifth country, which was Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, we launched Girls Can Do Anything. But we've been, of course, the United States and across the country, all the way to the West Coast, where my family is, Santa Monica, California, and all the way to West Africa, wow, and South Africa. So Ghana, Togo, Johannesburg, South Africa, and wanting to go back to really get to Durban and other places like that. But later this year, I'll be traveling to Kenya. So really exciting.
Check you out.
Cuba, Mexico, Belize, just some places I've traveled more just to connect with community. But as far as our work and our impact expanding, I would say the farthest has been South Africa.
I have been to Belize. So didn't spend that much time there, but a couple of days. But
have you ever been to the continent, Africa?
I have not. I have not been to my motherland.
It is an amazing experience. You will be very, very surprised. I think all of our listeners today would definitely be surprised, no matter what you believe or don't believe, just the beauty, the greatness, the wealth, the richness, the culture, the fashion, music. Music, has taken the world by storm.
Afro beats, because it's high vibrational, party, good feeling music versus what we've been subjected to the last 10 or 15 years in terms of the drill and the grind. And it's just, the innovation coming out of, all across the continent of Africa is truly amazing. Okay. So how does one go from food truck operator
I did not start there.
for what people know of you from this episode, how do we get from that point to where you are right now? What happened? What was, where did we go? Yeah.
So I have to, draw back to my mother and father. A lot of people know, my family started the Tribute to Bob Marley Festival. By the way, this is the 30th annual People's Festival.
Are you serious?
This year. Yes.
Oh, snap.
Crazy. So we've always been, I'm a first generation Mexican American. We've always been closely connected, and I'm a Black woman of, African American, meaning may not have been directly connected to my African roots, but always grew up in that Afrocentric environment. Right. So was always very conscious of things that were happening, that were impacting our people around the world, whether that was the immigration, crisis that's still going on today,
right, yes,
but was really affecting Mexican farm workers, children and families, the Dreamers Act. A lot of this work came out of that. And my mom was a part of that activism, being Mexican born and still a citizen, a Mexican citizen, while she's lived in America my entire life. So understanding that activism, and then her fighting for just underprivileged kids in the school that I went to, going to the school board meetings, going door to door, teaching me that, street activism. And then, my dad in the community of African and Jamaican, kind of descent, just keeping us close to that culture and understanding the injustices that were happening and dealing with prejudice and racism from an early age. I always was very in tune to people suffering. And also had a strong power base, where I always felt empowered to do something about it. So, I remember being 5 years old, 7 years old, and my hero was Malcolm X.
Wow.
Like, that was who I wanted to be when I grew up.
And you were so not Malcolm. You're more Martin.
We have to ask ourselves, who was Martin at the point that he was murdered?
Oh, yeah.
Not for the sake of volunteerism in a day of service.
No, he was definitely gangster.
He was fighting.
He was definitely fighting. Yes.
And realizing that his persuasive speeches had to shift to outright radical activism in the face of a hateful America.
Listen, you can't have movement with just a Martin. Mm-hmm. Nor can you have movement with just a Malcolm.
Yeah,
you have to have a hard and you have to have a soft, more or less, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that Martin was soft, but Malcolm was like, "Yo, ready to hit, like, let's get physical, right?"
Yeah.
Where Martin's like, "No, come on, let's."
It's only words, we only villainize people when their skin is of a different hue, because white people have been arming themselves, and taking a by any means stand your ground approach. Since the founding of the United States of America. But as soon as you see a Black man, exercising, his right to bear arms,
it's a problem,
and uplifting the community and empowering and educating them of their right to bear arms, and
it's a problem.
It's there's something radical, and we villainize
scary.
that. Even Black people, it's made to seem scary, and we could say the same thing for white people with guns. Absolutely. I used to go to the shooting range pretty often, but during the pandemic, I started to be scared in there. And it's like all white guys.
Super wild. Because they were preparing. They were preparing.
And automatic weapons. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. And I need more guns, Because these little boys have more guns than our adult Black communities. So we just have to be responsible. But yeah, so I think just going back to activism and the work that I do through One Village Alliance, it is drawing a line in the sand, not for things a little more just, but for absolute justice.
Yes.
Because, we've heard that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we can't go to Legislative Hall in Delaware and ask for a little more justice, because at the rate, Delaware is known as the first of the southern states for a reason. The rate justice, that the wheels of justice grind very slowly in the state. So if we accept a little bit, they'll take that as a yes and have a celebration of, what did they just celebrate in Leg Hall? Some reparations policy or anti-slavery, recognizing that slavery is over, something like that.
Yeah.
But any little thing we allow them to put on the books to say, okay, we're going to be a little less unjust. But if it's still unjust, we have to be able to walk away and come back to the next legislative session until we get justice. So
agreed. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in your DNA.
It's in my DNA. It's in my DNA. As is food. I'm a professionally trained chef. My parents owned Mexican restaurants, and I grew up in the restaurant business. I'm careful. I don't cook for people too early because I'm an amazing cook.
That's why they be putting up the billboards.
Above all other things.
Okay.
Okay. So
this humble flex.
The food business was easy and great money, high profit margin, and I was raised in, among business owners. So, most of my siblings are all business owners, and that was just kind of the natural course of business, the food business, catering and concession. So that was thriving. Although my purpose in life was always very, very clear to me as a girl, young woman. But, when you're making money like that, it's kind of hard, and you back burner things until the right time. And God just humbled me, and I was catering an event with my concession truck. As you know, the truck was stolen, and, that was the push I needed. That was humbling, and I needed to step into my purpose. And as soon as I stepped in, it just hasn't stopped. And we went from, 13 years ago, I want to start an education agency because education is so important, but schools are so oppressive and destructive. And I wanted to intercede there and intervene and let our children know how brilliant they are and make learning relevant and give them the power to own their own learning experiences, even within the confines of an oppressive, racist, harmful school system that I grew up in and had a devastating impact on me.
Yes.
Yeah. Very few of us grew up in good schools, unfortunately. So while advocating on one hand to change that, creating a lifeline for historically marginalized youth, and that education agency quickly grew into an advocacy organization, and the focus quickly, there was a need to shift from education to justice because the things that I saw happening throughout education systems around the region and across the country, around the world, there's a real need for not only direct programming to youth, like tutoring and mentoring and greatness building and lifeline coaching, but family strengthening with a focus on fatherhood and public policy advocacy as a third pillar with from the approach of educating and mobilizing the community to get them to understand not only what's happening with policies and laws from school district elections to, things happening with statewide education policy, but also getting a bus, filling that bus, and marching in the legislative hall right down in Dover, 50, 60, 100 people strong.
That's beautiful. I like that. Yeah. I think what I've keyed in on with everything that you said, I think what I love the most about what you're doing is the exposure that you're giving to your community to be empowered to do on their own.
Absolutely.
You should not be using these schools as an exclusive agent of your education.
Absolutely.
Actually, that should just be, I don't want to say foundation, but I can't think of a better word. But yes, you go to school Monday through Friday, right? Yeah. So that's your foundation. But there should be so much more learning going on after school, at home, right. To actually make what is being taught make sense. Either be able to make it make sense in a truthful way or make it make sense that this is bullshit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that is the beauty in what you're doing with One Village, with your facilities and your mission statement. I think that was going to make the most difference moving forward in terms, legislation, obviously it's important. All these things are important, but it starts at home, right?
It starts at home.
And if you get people...
Yeah. And then you have to have this chicken and the egg conversation. So when you look at the lowest performing school district in the state of New Jersey, which we operate in, the state of Delaware, which we operate in, those lowest performing school districts, and the state of Pennsylvania, those lowest performing school districts are all within 20 minutes of each other in all three of those states. Yeah. The southern tip of New Jersey, the northernmost part of the state of Delaware, and the southern tip of Pennsylvania. Those school districts didn't just start failing. I mean, if you and I had a business that was publicly funded that was failing for a period of time, how long do you think it would take for them to shut us down or bring in another entity and boot us out, or force a restructuring, not just reform, but a restructuring completely. We're not talking about when we restructure, we're not repainting the walls or removing the staff. We're really looking at the system from the ground up and rebuilding it, tearing it down and rebuilding it because it's not working. Right. These systems didn't just start failing. They've been failing for generations. Yeah. So the lowest performing school district today was the lowest performing school district when we were kids.
Of course,
when
yes.
our parents were kids. So yes, it starts at home, and we simultaneously have to do the work in these systems and raise awareness and educate families. But you're right, showing kids that, like, you know, your spirituality is as much connected to church on Sunday morning from, you know, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. as your learning experiences is connected to school from 9 to 3. You know, you own your own learning experiences. And we get kids excited about, not about reading, but about whatever it is that you love, what excites you, what makes you feel. Okay, now let's read about it. Let's read a story about it. Let's tell a story about it. Let's write a story about it. So let's start with what you love, what makes you feel, what you hate, what bothers you, what you'd like to change. Let's not talk about reading. Let's just use literacy to tell those stories about the things you love anyway.
So I wonder, I feel like sometimes we misunderstand, like, the purpose of school, like college. For example, people poo-poo college now because they're just like, it's 4 years, all this money, blah, you know, and what are you getting out of it, right? Then you go out, you get a job, and they're basically tell you, like, whatever you learn there, forget it, because we're going to teach you how to do whatever it is you want to do, right?
Exactly.
But my understanding of college is that it demonstrates 3 things. The first thing is the ability to be taught, or the ability to learn. Less about what you actually learn there, but you were able to go through and you were able to learn things. So now I know that you know how to learn. You have the ability. It's there. 2, you can make a goal and you can stick to it. You follow it no matter what. You finished it because you started, you ended, you got a diploma, you graduated, you're there. So now I know at least that you can make a goal and commit, stick to it. The third thing is just the exposure to different people, different subjects, just a world that's bigger than whatever you had leading up to day one of college, right? So those are the 3 purposes. A lot of people, we're just so focused on, like, well, what are you going to learn there? It's like, no, sometimes it's just the structure, right? It's like a warehouse. Doesn't matter. You need a warehouse to put things in. Now, maybe you're putting widgets in the warehouse, you're putting cars, whatever you put in the warehouse, you need to have a warehouse to hold these things. And that's what school is supposed to do. And it's up to us to then determine what it is we're going to do with that space. Yeah. And so I feel like if people would start accepting, we'll have a better handle as to what's supposed to happen in school. Like, school is not supposed to be the end all be all. It's just a structure. It is just the beginning of your educational journey. So it's cool that you're actually teaching people to do something that our parents didn't really teach us to do because of them being in survival mode, which is to chase your passions. Yeah. Well, no, because of the learning. Like, it's like, no, I'm not just going to have you read just to read for the sake of reading. Right. Oh, you're into remote control cars. Let's find you books on remote control cars.
You know, when you think about why children today in school are still reading Shakespeare, ask yourself why. Can you list 50 to 500,000 greater writers since that white man wrote? Absolutely we can. You know, there are writers like, you know, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar.
There we go.
You know, Nas, and now hip hop is being taught in Yale and Harvard universities. Yeah. You know, this is not rocket science. Like, nobody thought that Shakespeare was just the greatest writer, you know.
No, it's just there.
And it's still like, you know, so what is the content that's really being delivered in schools? And then there's an argument against teaching children anything that empowers them as Black children in particular. I'll go back to your 3 purposes, and I'm hoping that they weren't in order of importance. I'm assuming they were not.
they're just general, yeah.
Because I think the one that's most valid, if at all, is relationships that you can build on a college campus, like on any campus. But I mean, the real reason people just go to college is not because it's a part of a plan. I mean, now we already know, you know, to build a habit, it takes a lot less than 13 years, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Anything you do for 15 days, you know?
2 weeks. If you do it for 2 weeks, it becomes a habit.
So 13 years of basic education kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh, yeah, they're just filling in gaps. Listen.
You know, and the real reason that kids are going to college is because society is making kids feel like you're a failure if you don't go to college.
No, exactly.
After high school. So nobody's asking, what is your plan? Everybody's like, where are you going to college? What college are you going to? Are you going to college? So I talked to a mother yesterday, and her son is studying to be a master electrician. But what did he do? He always wanted to be an electrician, but he went to college and wasted a bunch of his family's money, not flunked out, but just was completely disinterested and realized, like, this has absolutely nothing to do with my life plan. $40,000 in.
You need to. I mean, when I worked for a higher Ivy League university, it was interesting because a lot of the kids in the NBA program, world-renowned NBA program, they were victims of the rhythm of our society. High school. Then you go to college. Mm-hmm. Then you get a job, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, man, this is some bullshit. Whatever their career is, these are the people that the students there had the ability to go back to school and get there. And they use their time a lot of them use their time as getting their MBA as like a vacation from life. Mm-hmm. Like, I can go back to school and I can get loans or whatever, and I can hide out from life until I figure it out. And one of the requirements that the school had was they didn't admit students that weren't but a certain age, because they wanted you to have enough life experience so that if you go and you make this commitment, you know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. So it would be great if our society was structured that we didn't have to feel the pressure to go from high school directly in college, that you could have a gap year or 2 or 3 so that you can kind of figure it out. But I understand the challenges in that, because once you start living, you start accumulating bills, right? Yeah. And then once you start accumulating bills, it's very hard to then go to school, pay those bills, pay for school. So I get that aspect of it. I really do get the challenge, but I wish there was a way that we could do that, because sometimes we just need a couple of years to kind of get an idea of who we are before we start on our journey as to what are we going to do with the rest of our lives.
Yeah, that shouldn't start at 17, 18 years old. So at One Village Alliance, we're introducing children as early as 7 years old to world travel through our summer camp around the world in a summer, to, business moguls. We just had a Business Mogul Monday Summit with, just a conference full of kids and also business leaders and business owners, from financial planners and accountants to, people who went to college, who didn't go to college, a guy who owns a roofing company, someone who's a philanthropist like Ida B. Wells.
Ida.
We're talking to seniors in high school who don't know what the word philanthropist means. So much less do they know that they have the power to change the world and be change agents. And how do you start? So having those conversations and exposing children to their personal power, not about what they want to do when they grow up, because a lot of grown-ups don't know what we want to do when we grow up.
No, it changes.
But
it shifts.
Yeah, exposing yourself to your own personal power to really choose and decide, and your value in the world, your purpose within your own life and with your own household and within your own community. So just giving children an opportunity to center within themselves through yoga and meditation, and to think and vibrate higher about things that they hadn't set any intention around, those thoughts and ideas before, because they're just in their phones, or they're just playing the game, or they're just listening to whatever's on.
They're not present.
They're not present. So giving them the power of presence and purpose and planning their own day and their own life, and thinking, becoming critical thinkers at 7, 8, 9, 13, 15, 16, and appreciating their own power to be their own teachers and own their own learning, and be a force in the world. So we do that again with kids, with parents who've never experienced that. I talk to adults every day who say, I wish I had this, this way of thinking, or someone, I've never heard anyone talk like this. And these are adults.
Yeah.
And we're empowering adults, business leaders, business owners, social entrepreneurs, change agents, people who want to join our impact, because it truly does take a whole village. And together, we're all that village, the children, the parents, community partners, all of us.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you also got people roller skating.
We do. We bring together fun. Being in a safe space, that goes back to, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Mm-hmm. Safety is at the very bottom.
That's the first thing.
The things that we're struggling with most here in this city and cities just like it across the country, safety, housing, food and water. Like, this is the United States of America. It's 2024. So we make sure that we have that safe haven space. We have every Monday, first Monday of the month, we do free haircuts for the community.
Which is nice. That is really cool.
Every single day of the week, we're doing free tutoring and mentoring. Education is the great equalizer. So we want to make sure kids have access to mentoring, tutoring, just enrichment, great literary materials, roller skating, having fun in a safe space, being connected to community, and other people who are just not in the streets. They need somewhere else to be.
Not the streets.
Anywhere, or at your home. Maybe you just need a mental health outlet, mental wellness space. So we work to create that. We call our home base here in Wilmington Freedom. So that project is called Freedom for a reason. From the green spaces outside to the brand new sidewalk in the street that we worked with the state to change the culture of the community by changing the look and beautifying it, to our partnership with Discover and Delaware Center for Horticulture to implement. We have 35 huge pollinator pots that line the property, and we have a tree line, that really is oxygenating the community where it was just littered before we got there. Our partnership with UAMA, the faith-based community, the grassroots organization, community people, residents. So it's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Let's cheer for you. See, I got effects.
Love it. Yeah. Thank y'all.
So can people donate to you?
Yeah.
And how would they do that?
Yep. They can donate their time, treasure, and talent at iamthevillage.org. That's iamthevillage.org. Follow us on Instagram at #1 in the word village. And there's on every platform, there's a little button with that D word, donate.
Yes, man.
And please contribute to the cause. All of you out there are philanthropists. And, philanthropy means, for the love of humanity. So anything that you do, whether it has to do with environmental justice, addressing, justice for historically marginalized children and their families. We do a book bag giveaway. We have a prom dress. We give away 1,000 book bags at our event, to start off every year. And we have a stock load for the whole year if people need anything. We have a prom dress event. We don't just give away prom dresses, but we provide tuxedos for boys.
As you should.
For prom as well.
As you should.
People leave out the boys. And we have winter coats that we give out. And all of the, not to negate, or minimize anything else that people are doing, but all of our, everything we give away is free. So we're never doing a drive for prom dresses or coats. It's all free package. Our dresses still have the tags on them. So if something doesn't fit well, go get it tailored, customized, and you keep it. It's your own. Our book bags are brand new. Our winter coats are brand new. Tuxedo rentals are provided through our partner on 4th Street.
Trying to remember the name. I know it's the Jack. It's the Jack. I got you.
It's on 4th Street in Wilmington. That's our partner. Men's formal wear. Oh, God.
Let's see. No, we can just Google it. That's
Google it.
Let's see.
So they partner with us for the tuxedos. We've got barbers every single first Monday of the month. It could literally be families. If you've got kids, boys and girls, we have locticians. Every first Monday of the month. And some of the dopest barbers, Bleak, Jay, Moody, from throughout the Delaware Valley. So if you're a barber, if you're interested, if you're a loctician or a beautician, we from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. every first Monday of the month. Tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow.
Well,
it's totally free.
On Mondays.
Yeah.
We're recording on Sunday, so yeah. It's the Jack. It's the Jack.
Sorry.
Are you talking about Matthews Formal Wear?
Yes, Matthews.
I was thinking Matthews. Yeah, Matthews, 1810 4th Street, Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah. Okay.
So these are some of our community partners. Chick-fil-A is a huge partner. We just did our big Raising Kings conference. Hundreds of men and boys, all about changing society's prominent image expectations and outcomes for Black men and boys. Hundreds gather every year, and it's an ongoing mentoring initiative.
Yes.
So if men want to get involved, but Chick-fil-A, Oath 84, Lounge at 8th. Rum Punch Jamaican restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So these are all of our food partners and sponsors. The community really shows out and shows up for us, and this is year 14.
It's beautiful. I think you guys are a beacon because oftentimes people really do want to help, but they don't know how to help, or there's not an outlet for them to help.
Yeah.
And then you're here, and then you provide not just a safe space for the kids in the community, but a safe space for people who do want to donate to go to, because they can trust that whatever resources they throw your way is actually going to be used in the right way. So that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we have so many opportunities, whether you're a business leader, we have a cooperative workspace, an event space. Like, I know you're like, that is a lot, but we have an entire city block. And that's just Project Freedom, our One Village Alliance, global headquarters right here in Wilmington, Delaware. So if you're anywhere in the tri-state area, reach out and get involved in our work. Again, we expanded across the continent of Africa and are doing work, regionally and nationally. So I love it.
Beautiful. Okay, good. That's a nice sell on what you do. Good job. You've done this before, haven't you?
Thank you. A couple of times.
And you did it on the jack.
On the freaking jack.
All right. So let's shift gears just a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Have you ever heard of, do you do Reddit at all?
Reddit? I have heard of Reddit, but okay. I don't use Reddit.
Okay. So they have this thing called Am I the Asshole?
Okay.
And Am I the Asshole is people writing in with their situations and then getting public opinion as to whether or not they were wrong or not.
Lord.
I know, right? So we have a couple here. And we're going to get your take, my take, hot takes on this. And hopefully the goal is we all learn from other people's either mistakes or triumphs. Mm-hmm. Okay. You good?
Best way to learn. I wish we could have just learned all the lessons from other people, but
that's, what they say, a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
Trying to use my wisdom, man. Let's go. Let's get more wise.
All right. Am I the asshole for not wanting to be around my girlfriend's gay best friend? So.
Oh, I was about to answer, but there's a story.
There's a story. There's a whole story. That's what makes it fun. Okay, you gotta have the details. You gotta have a whole story, right? So I'll start this off by clarifying that I'm not homophobic or anything of that sort, and my reasoning for not wanting to be around him has nothing to do with his sexual preference. I am currently dating a girl who has a best friend who is a male and happens to be gay. My girlfriend and him are very close and have known each other for far longer than I have been together with my girlfriend. When I first started dating her, I noticed that when she would visit with him, they would be very physical with each other, holding hands, stroking hair, caressing each other's arms, and the occasional kisses. To be honest, completely honest, I'm pretty uncomfortable with it. I don't care what they do when they hang out by themselves, but I essentially feel like a third wheel when I'm with them since they barely talk to me and literally whisper in each other's ears, which makes me feel not only excluded, but also makes me question who's even in a relationship, me and my girlfriend or them. I expressed to my girlfriend that I'm pretty uncomfortable with it and would appreciate it if they would at least not be so physical when they're around me. But my girlfriend essentially told me that that's how they interact and she won't change the way she interacts with him because of me. She assures me that there's nothing going on and he's literally gay. So there's nothing to worry about. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking her to change the way she acts with him in general. I honestly don't care what they do when they hang out by themselves, as long as it's not literally sex. But all I asked was for them to be a little less affectionate to each other when I'm around. My girlfriend, along with her friend, she just don't understand why I feel uncomfortable because the friend is gay, and I admit that he's very gay. I guess we know what that means, but whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not about if he's gay or not. I just don't like seeing the girl I love caressing and being all touchy-feely with another guy, gay or not. My girlfriend keeps bringing him around, and while I don't hate him or anything, I simply just do not want to be around him because I don't know how they are together, because I know how they are together, and I know if I see them together, it's going to make me uncomfortable. It's getting to the point where I will tell my girlfriend that I don't really like hanging out with if he's going to be with us, and I'm sure this bothers my girlfriend. Good Lord, girl. You'll be okay. All right. Pretty much, am I the asshole for not wanting to be around my girlfriend's gay best friend because they're touchy-feely with each other and makes me uncomfortable? Or am I just being jealous even though I know he's gay? Am I being unreasonable? I love her a lot, but this is one thing that honestly does bother me. And every time I bring it up, she kind of dismisses it. Am I the asshole?
She's the asshole. I could answer that way earlier in the story, but yeah. He's not an asshole. I mean, when you're in a relationship, it's not about being worried or being insecure or being jealous. He's uncomfortable. And if something makes someone you love uncomfortable, that should be enough for you to honor. He's not even asking her to change her behaviors.
Which I think
just change her behaviors in front of him. Like, that shit's not hard. But the problem is when people show you who they really are and you don't pay attention, it's unfortunate. Now you got somebody who's like not considering your feelings, and that's just point blank, period.
Do you Would you ever carry on like that? Like her?
I'm a completely different person. So, I would say no.
Okay.
If I loved someone, no, I'm not going to do it. And they tell me that something, within reason makes them uncomfortable. It's funny. I was in a relationship before, and I have a really good friend. He's still my good friend, and the guy, we're not in a relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. But, the guy came over, like him and his daughter, like they always do. It's Thanksgiving. Like I have a couple key friends who come over. And after he left, like the door, he was there for hours. He was like the last person to leave. Everybody's, hanging out. As soon as the door shuts behind him, the guy I'm seeing sits me down and is like, I don't like him. I'm like, Ooh. Who? He's like, him. I don't like him. And I'm like, oh, okay. You'll never see him again.
Wow.
I didn't ask why he doesn't like him. Nothing.
Really?
No. I was like, you'll never see me. No, it's just insecurity, whatever. And I cared enough to be like, okay, you'll never see him again. But that wasn't good enough for him. He's like, what? He was just shocked that I was so accommodating. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, you'll never have to see him again. Don't worry. He's like, are you ever going to see him again? I'm like, yeah, like.
Oh.
That's a really good friend of mine.
That's some old slick shit right there.
Yeah, I'm going to see him again. Like, he's my friend.
Right, yes.
We're friends. We've been friends for a decade before I met you. What do you mean? Am I ever going to see him again? Like, of course. So now that's extreme. And I really struggled with that, but I never let him see him again. And I didn't lie or be that's another issue. I need, not that I need to know, but I want to understand. I want to understand because if you like, so if we're in that situation, you're like, B, I don't ever want to see her again. And I'm like, I knew what it was. Men are just, for some reason.
What was it?
I've always had to deal with some insecurity or jealousy, possessiveness when it comes to men.
Just be picking wrong.
And here's the crazy thing. Like, I've never cheated on a man in my life. I've never cheated. I've never been intrigued with two men at the same time. So it's not even a self-righteous thing. It's not even a good girl thing. It's like,
okay,
have never been intrigued by two men at the same time. So I don't know how much it is my morals, but I feel like I wouldn't cheat, but I definitely haven't. But yeah, that situation, she's the asshole. End of story.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm just curious. Like, I would have loved to know, like, what was the trigger for him? Because
he's a man.
No,
Ego.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Because he could have legitimately seen anything. I question. Like, I want to know these things because the answer is going to let me know then and there if this is a person I need to continue on with building with.
I'm not a question person. I don't ask a lot of questions, almost to a fault. Mm-hmm. I don't like long stories, and I don't argue.
Well, these out of assholes is killing me.
Yeah, look.
Right? All right. Here's the last one. Okay.
So that's why I didn't ask. I was like, well, why? Well, we just don't have to go back and forth. That's just my personality.
Get closer to that mic, woman.
Oh, sorry. That's just my personality.
Clearly. So. You're going to need to start learning how to ask some questions. All right.
You're right. I'm trying to be better at that.
You should. Yeah. Because, questions, it's not about, like, trying to put somebody in place or anything like that or to embarrass them. It is so that you can understand where they're coming from and how the correct path forward. Yeah. Because, like, yes, being like, you'll never see him again is a path forward. Mm-hmm. But is that a healthy path forward? Probably not. Because he could have had something, like, really ridiculous, a reason for not liking him. And you could have been like, you could have answered that question, like, responded to that in a way that would have been like, okay, I get it. I'm cool. Like, all right, I understand. My fault. But you being like, all right, you'll never see him again, that would raise my red flags. Like, wait, what? Really?
It turns out the guy that I was seeing was just completely... He was just completely insecure because he was living a whole lie.
Yeah,
like, and
he was projecting because he knew. Yeah, because he knew if it was the other way around, what the situation would be. That's how it always is. That's how it. Show me someone who's insecure and accusatory, and I will show you somebody who's doing all the things that they're accusing you of.
A whole nut.
Oh Lord, no, she's definitely the asshole.
Okay.
She is. He's not in a loving relationship.
Nah.
Not at all. So, all right. Let's see. I know that chair.
Love and respect go hand in hand.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
It does. But really, respect needs to come first because, you can love somebody and not respect them. And it just shows. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Am I the asshole? This argument began because my girlfriend decided to initiate sex with me and then abruptly stop because it was fun just to mess with you. She has done this with me. She has done this with the intention of messing with me multiple times before. And every single time I tell her that I don't like it, I've tried to set this boundary multiple times. I don't find being edged and left wanting fun. I would never force my girlfriend to do anything she's uncomfortable with. No means no. And consent can be withdrawn at any time. So I wasn't going to pressure her into making me finish. Damn. That being said, I was left both frustrated and horny. I expressed my frustration by reminding her that I've told her not to do this, but she completely blew me off and told me that I was just being immature and that I should just go to sleep. That's when I proposed that I just do the job myself without the outside assistance of porn. That seemed fair to me since she didn't want to continue. She told me that you might as well go home and jerk off while I sleep. Her wording was deliberate, and she was directly referencing one of the biggest conflicts in our relationship. 2 years ago, I watched porn in the bathroom while she was asleep. This was a singular, out-of-character event, which she knows I feel horrible about.
People do all this on Reddit? Like,
yeah,
what
they be doing the most, right? And have apologized for profusely. We both agreed that porn is something we don't want in our relationship. God damn. She knows that I still feel horribly about this. And it was a singular event, and it's been over 2 years. Why bring it up? This really upset me. So I left. It just feels like she is repeatedly crossing boundaries, getting upset at normal hormonal reactions, and then bringing up past mistakes to purposely make me feel bad. That's the edit. After I left, I was sent this string of text messages by her. I don't understand why you hate me so much. Not talking to me is the most immature thing I've ever witnessed. I hope this is worth it. You're being overly dramatic about one comment. She then edited them a couple minutes later into this string. I love you. I'm sorry that I'm such a bitch. I didn't want you to leave. Everything is always my fault.
Oh my God.
Is
the story over yet?
Yes, it's done.
What the...
What?
Ask me your question.
Is he the asshole for going home and masturbating without porn?
This is why these chicks...
What?
I blame y'all why dudes are hiding in my bushes and putting up billboards.
Why? What?
These
how
chicks
did we get
are
there?
like, what
you
are
blame
y'all
her.
doing?
You're blaming her. Yeah.
I don't know what these chicks are out here doing, but I feel really sorry for the brothers, for real.
Oh, y'all are wild. Y'all are
Women
super
are
wild.
out of control.
Yeah.
They
No,
are.
seriously. It is.
I mean, the toxicity, the manipulation. Okay, I'm sorry. This is
No,
public.
go ahead.
Look, sisters, women have to be honest. Like, I have a son, and I see it, you know. So I got 3 brothers, you know, and a father and several uncles, you know, and great aunts and great women in my life. You know, beautiful sisters. These females out here are doing a lot. I'm gonna just say that.
The most.
And men, please choose wisely. This is your life, your peace, your sanity. We all deserve freedom, and people who have the capacity to choose freedom, and that's a very small percentage of the world's population.
Mm-hmm.
All these people who have the capacity to choose freedom continue to choose captivity through drama.
They don't know what freedom is. Like
that's sad. I'm free.
We have but a lot of us have a very our understanding of how a relationship is fundamentally toxic. Mm-hmm. It is ownership based. Like even your example, your ex saying, I don't like your friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally ownership based.
Right. And that's how we treat each other, right?
Possessive.
Very possessive. And that's not the way it should have ever been. But you know, history,
it's
whatever.
Just the games, the toxic, they're trying to incite emotions. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, she sounds like she's a sadist. So she sounds like, and that's her kink. And probably, I'm guessing that had he done his research on how you manage someone like that, like to play the game, he would have been all right. Like she liked the edge and stuff. Maybe she was really trying to goad him into consensual, non-consensual situation, but she's not communicating that fully because it would ruin the fun to sit him down and be like, look, when I edge you, I really want you to
take it.
I want you to take it. I want you. This is the safe word. Yeah. That would take away fun. Yeah.
And then we have situations like those whose names I will not say because I'm not trying to be stoned on your show.
No, you can be stoned.
But how much responsibility do women have? And then to what line do they get to then become the victim and somebody become, the assaulter? You know, the person who assaulted them. Like, it's just There's great manipulation that's happening out here, and I would just say to everyone, men, young men, men of any age, like, protect yourselves. These chicks know what they're doing out here. Women, girls of any age, protect yourselves. There are some real predators out here of all genders, and that's just real. Like, he needs to run and block, delete, and
he sounds like a simp. He sounds like a simp. First of all,
these dudes, you're on Reddit for real.
Like, for real. Listen.
Why do you feel bad for watching porn? Like, if that's what you want to do that.
And there are people, but again, that's the ownership. That's that ownership piece. Like, I don't want you to watch porn, so you don't want to. Like, okay, well, no, that's not going to work.
Let's be honest about what we want for our lives, okay? Like,
no,
so we can.
He's a simp. He's just a simp. He is just a simp.
Well, yeah.
And yeah, so the play should have been like, she's edging him. Like, I really do feel like she was edging him.
Silence is power. Yeah. Had he just put his pants on and bounced without saying anything, she'd have went crazy. Because now, where is he going?
I know.
Now that you got him all riled up and hoardy, where's he going? He not at. If he'd have left, see, men don't exercise their power, and women don't understand the magnitude of our power. So we're using it all wrong. Now she's all fucked up. He's all fucked up. Like, no, they both completely relinquished their power.
No, she's got all the power. She's got all the power. If he gives it
to her, absolutely not.
No, she's got.
He could have pulled his pants up, bounced, handled his horny, called her in the morning like, "Hey, babe, what's up? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your text and stuff last night."
See, first of all,
silence is power.
If you get me hard, if you get me hard, and then you're like, "Nah, never mind," I'm never coming back.
They're in a relationship.
The relationship's over.
I would, yeah.
The relationship's over. Like, what we're not going to do is you're not going to take me there. It's one thing if you're like, for whatever reason, you crash and burn and you're just like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, for whatever, that's fine. But when it's clear that you were being sadistic, I got to go. You're not going to do that to me. And then mad because I go and watch porn and take care of myself. And how
does it make sense?
I'm sure he told her. He was like, I went home and I watched porn and I masturbated because you wouldn't give it to me. And like, she had a fit because that was supposed to be her nut that he was supposed to force upon her. She's a CNC. He doesn't even realize it. That's what's going on there. But
did you comment that to help a brother out on Reddit?
No, I don't comment on. Look, there was one thing. I've only commented on one thing on Reddit, and it was a guy basically, he had shut his life down. Like, he broke up with his boyfriend. He quit his job. He sold all his things, signed everything else over to his brother, and he was planning to commit suicide like in a couple of days. And I left a comment. I'm like, yeah, I said what I said. And I didn't see any more comments, things. But that's the only time. These people if you're going to get on Reddit and tell these stories, ask these questions, like, they're fairly obvious. Like, a lot of to me at least, they're obvious. So, no.
You know a question a lot of men always ask?
What's that?
Like, you're pretty, you're beautiful. You must be crazy. Are you crazy? Mm-hmm. Men love crazy.
No.
I've realized men, they don't ask, can you cook? They don't ask, do you keep your house clean? They don't ask, is your car disgusting? Well, they ask, are you crazy? Are you sure you're not crazy? You crazy, aren't you? Give me your number.
See, that problem.
Men love crazy.
No.
And I'm convinced by your Reddit commentary.
I don't think men love crazy. I think the men that ask that question are special, because what crazy person is going to admit to being crazy?
A lot of men like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Conditioned. That's all they had. Yeah. That's all they've had. That's all they dealt with. But there's a lot of.
I think people need excitement, and they don't have passports, so they just need crazy relationships to take them on a trip every other freaking day.
I don't know. I think a lot of people just have accepted the notion that no matter who you deal with, there's going to be something about them that's just going to be off. This is going to be weird. So now you're just trying to figure out what area is this weirdness going to be? Is this existing, and can I handle it? Because, I have this thing where I say everybody comes with the same amount of shit. Let's say it's 10 pounds. Everybody has 10 pounds of shit with them. I don't care who you are. You have 10 pounds of shit. So if I meet you and we link and we're getting along, your 10 pounds of shit is not going to feel like 10 pounds because I actually like you. It might feel like 6 pounds, 4 pounds, whatever. But if I don't like you, we don't get along, that 10 pounds is going to feel like 20 pounds of shit. I'm not going to be able to handle it. That is my theory. That's why, like, for the longest time, I tried to avoid dating women with kids, right? Because just in general, right? Mm-hmm. But if I really liked a girl, kids don't bother me. They're fine. Even the little baby's kids. It's like, it's cool. I like her. I can work with it. Somebody I don't like enough, it's like, kids. Yo, that's a deal. Fucking kids. So,
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
A perfect example. It's the most hilarious thing ever. So a couple of years ago, this guy, and I was like, whatever, we went out, and he's like, can we go out again? And I'm like, no. He like flew up from anyway, he flew in town. It was somebody that I knew, but I'm like, okay, I'll go out to dinner with you. So wasn't attracted, didn't, kind of soft ghosted him, but like was honest, like didn't ghost him. I'm like, no, don't want to go out again. It was real, it was nice, thank you. A week later, I get a gift box shipped to my office. And I'm like, okay, this is from this guy. All right, let me open it. It's his freaking worn shirt, like his shirt. It smells like him. Like, I was sick. I was like,
no.
My assistant was like, I'm so sorry. I need to start screening packages. Like, it was a big deal. I was furious. I like blocked him. I mean, I was furious. Nothing gave him the ink. Like, so I'm like, that's disgusting. Like, who would do that? Put it in a box. I make her, my assistant ships it back to him, his shirt. The other day, I'm seeing this guy, right? And it's like leaving out of town, and he gives me a gift bag. And he's like, don't open it until you get home. I'm like, okay, so I get home. I'm like, lay on my bed, and I've got the gift bag, and I open it. It's his shirt. Worn shirt that smells like him. Oh my God. I'm like, this is the dopest gift ever.
Yeah,
I love it. I like wrap my face in it. I FaceTime him just holding the shirt. And it's just so fit. It all depends on how you feel about the person.
Exactly. Exactly. Same thing about the flowers. Like, one person can send you flowers and he's
a stalker and it's an ick. Yeah. You want to report him for a sexual assault. Another person sends flowers, like, oh my God.
It's the best ever. Yep,
I know, it's so crazy. I thought that was so,
That is dope.
Moral of the story, a worn shirt that smells like you is the creepiest thing you could possibly send someone who told you she does not like you and doesn't want to see you or smell you again. But the best gift
you have to be in good standing.
Can give you
have to be in good standing with the person. Absolutely. That you send, you the shirt with your pheromones and all that on it. So check you out. Look at you glowing, blushing.
You know what? Turn the mic off. Thanks for having me.
How can they get a hold of you, Chandra?
For business purposes only.
Yeah, because they just heard the shirt story. They know what it is.
Send no shirts. Okay. I am at iamthevillage.org. That's www.imthevillage.org. Again, on Instagram, the number 1 in the word village. And definitely reach out, get involved in our work. We really are doing great things. And thank you, Brandon, for this outlet, for this work-life balance on it's been real.
Yes, it has. Thank you for lending your celebrity, sharing some stories, and actually inspiring. You've inspired somebody. Somebody that's listening or watching to this is now inspired to do more, to be active. If it's not in Delaware, it's in their other community. They'll look for their Chandra and their organization to do better. Right?
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. This has been a rare, because Brent and I have known each other for well over a decade. It's been a rare personal insight. I do a lot of interviews, podcasts and other platforms, but none like this. This has been very, very unique.
Oh, yeah?
Very rare personal insight, along with Jack and Don. The help of them two.
Don Ruiz. Yeah, how about that?
I'm talking about Don Julio.
Oh, yeah, you've had a day.
So it's been a day, but thank you all for allowing me a safe space.
Yes. Strive for safe spaces.
To share.
All right, so you have to have your handles. You can follow me at DJ Silk on Instagram, Thread, Spill X. I hate X. Thread, Spill X, Instagram. DJ Silk 12 on TikTok, and of course on Mixcloud.com for the Soul School mixes. You can check me out every Friday on 88.9 FM WEAA, the voice of the community, with the lovely Erica Kane, Lena J for the Soul School mix from 9 to 9:20 a.m. And then, of course, at 10 a.m., the mix is available on Mixcloud.com on demand. So that's what we do. So don't be a stranger. And until the next time, this is a Cultured Misfits Podcast. Say goodbye, Chandra.
Bye, y'all. Thank you. Peace, love, and unity.
That's what's up. Bye.